What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Astronaut, a indie horror game about waking up in your spaceship, all your crewmates are gone, and there's this strange person you've never met saying a whole lot of weird stuff. So you kind of have to piece together what happened. It's kind of weird. Not your usual horror game, but it was pretty good. I had fun with it, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Also, a little side note, it was a pain in the ass to record. So, for about 20 minutes, I sat here just changing around settings, trying to get it to be recorded. So this is what finally happened. All right. Appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys at the end. I broke it. Hold on, I broke it. Hold on.
20 minutes later.
So I just have to play in windowed mode. Let's just jump into it. Vessel Bidadari 221. Designation mechanic. Please input crewmate identification. You already know. The moment my eyes flicked open, I instantly knew something was wrong. Bright red lights flooded the ambience. Oh god, my nose. Oh. Leaving everything looking blood-soaked and gruesome. For a second, there was a pulse of fear in my chest before it faded. My logic stifling my instincts telling me it was too soon to panic. Despite how the crimson hues signaled danger all around me, it was better to keep my head on straight. My hand reached up to scratch an uncomfortable itch on my collar, only to find my arm was caught underneath my toppled desk. Luckily, my suit cushioned most of the impact, leaving a dull ache, nothing more. Grunting with effort, I kicked off the offending furniture and set up to assess everything, fixing my visor over my eyes. I casted a quick glance around my room. Some furniture toppled on their sides, and my usually neat shelf of books and trinkets chaotic and disorganized. Did the ship crash into something while I was asleep? Usually there was a piercing alarm accompanying the emergency lights, but oddly enough it had gone quiet. Either I slept through it or somehow... Either I slipped through it somehow or something else happened for it to malfunction. As the person in charge of repairs and maintenance, that didn't bode well for me in the slightest. Just the sheer volume of that siren should have woken me up. Sigh? I called out to the room, expecting a matronly. What the fuck is that? If only a little stoic of voice respond back. Delayed responses from the ship's AI weren't common, but they could happen. As a spacecraft shipping nothing but Earthian pet supplies across the galaxy, we weren't really working with the most advanced tech there is. Not to mention the budget cuts. I sighed, already feeling a migraine forming in the back of my head. Sigh, can you respond, please? Still, nothing. I clicked my tongue. That's not a good start. I inhaled deeply and stood up to exit my room, my boots clunking down the hall, the only accompaniment I had as I made my way to the main console. Along the way, I didn't see any other signs of disturbance. Not like the one in my room, at least. I scratched at my arm, keeping a lookout for any trouble. Everything seemed to be business as usual. Other than the emergency lights, that is. A nagging thought crept into my head. While I wanted to take the current situation seriously, I couldn't help feeling skeptical. Was it another one of their pranks again? It's been a few months of me working for this company. I was expecting the hazing phase to die out any day now. Or at least, I hoped it would eventually. There's only so many ways one can keep themselves entertained on a shipping vessel, months into a trip, I supposed. I just hated the fact that I was one of those ways. Regardless, whatever's happening is worth investigating. Awful coworkers or not. I could only hope I got out of this one without any lasting trouble. Reaching the main console of the ship, I frowned at the absence of my crewmates. It was getting a little ridiculous how quiet this space, other than the ambient humming and the occasional blips from the console. At first, I didn't want to feel offended at the fact no one came to fetch me if it was a possible emergency, but the greeting silence only formed a pit in my stomach. Captain? Anyone? Is this another disappearing bit? Because it wasn't funny the last 2 times either. The lights are a nice touch, though. No stifled chortles. No snarky quips. Bristling from the quiet, I called out again. Come on, guys. I'd rather you insult me than leave me in the dark like this. Nothing? I sighed and shuffled over to the main panel. Pulling the lever to disable the emergency lights, the dark, gory tint of the room fades away into its usual sterile white. Glad to see that's working fine. Standing there, I expected someone to at least reveal themselves already. It's like a game of chicken to see if I'll break down first. I folded my arms, standing awkwardly in the center of the room. Nothing but absolute stifling silence. Guys? With every passing second, a heavy sense of trepidation grew. I swallowed down the inevitability I had to accept that it wasn't a practical joke after all. Shuffling to the console hurriedly, I checked the rest of the systems. Artificial gravity, navigation, communications. My brows furrowed as I squinted down at all the panels. It's like everything was reset. I perked up as I caught sight of the reboot logo for the ship thrumming back and forth on one of the screens. Sci-AP must be restarting. I waited impatiently for the familiar dinky chime to ring through the speakers. Sci? Hello? The low, droning voice was littered with more static than usual. I was just glad to hear someone talk back. Oh, thank gods. Is everything alright? You don't sound too good. The current state of my systems are suboptimal. Several of my primary functions are disabled or inoperable. I recommend repairs immediately. I'll get right on that once I figure out what's going on. I fidgeted with my tool belt as I thought of something simple to ask. What happened to the ship? There was a short pause before Sai was able to respond. What? Significant impact was detected against the rear exterior of the ship. My brows raised. We hit something? Affirmative. I grimaced. Fuck, the fucking purple guy. My worst fear coming true. I was really hoping that wasn't the case. And how long ago? Approximately 24 minutes ago. I was passed out on the floor the entire time? This might be more serious than I thought. Okay, well, that answers that. How bad is it? Unknown. Manual assessment required. I gulped, my breath stilling for a second. The thought of having to leave the safety of the ship and crawl along the outside, tethered by nothing but flimsy cable to inspect damage, who knows how bad. I leaned forward as a nervous laugh spilled between my teeth, hands gripping the edge of the console to steady myself. I'll get to it later. I said I'll get to it later. I do not recommend postponing the repairs. Is affecting my performance significantly. I'm not postponing, I'm just building up to it. Drop it, Sai. Very well. One crew member accounted for. Just one? That was concerning. There's supposed to be 5 of us. Can you, scan for everyone else? Negative. What? Why? As I have mentioned, I am in dire need of repairs. My biometric scanners are inoperable. My tracking systems are inoperable. My survey... Okay, I got it. What could possibly cause so much damage in my sleep? Deep down, I knew it was foolish to disregard Sai's advice. I was the mechanic, for God's sake. Fixing things was the entire point of me being hired onto this crew. I didn't need a semi-advanced AI to tell me that. I turned my attention back to the console. My eyes were glued to the big red button at the edge, my hand twitching with the urge to press it. Maybe it was too soon to panic, but with everything going on, I was stumped on what to do. I held back, clenching my hands into fists so tight I could hear my gloves squeak. If I pressed that button and made a fool of myself, not a single person on this vessel would let me live it down. Dread forming in my throat. I dragged my boots across the floor, ignoring the tremors in my hands as I prepared to head to the loading bay. Pausing at the door, I threw one last question into the air. We're not in imminent danger, are we? Sigh? Are we in danger? Error. Sigh? Sigh? Are we in danger? Error. I pinched my brows, gathering whatever courage I had. Astrophobia be damned, I had to do my job. Traversing down the halls, I kept an eye out for any signs of my crew members. While repairing the Bidadari was my main priority at the moment, it didn't hurt to see if I could find any of my absent colleagues. Plus, I wasn't really thrilled with the idea of leaving the ship without someone watching my back. Maybe I was still holding on to the hope that this was all some sort of sick joke. They just upped the game with their pranks is all, seeing as they hadn't got a decent reaction out of me in a while. They couldn't have possibly abandoned me, right? Just as my thoughts were about to spiral into negative territory, I heard faint footsteps from down the hall. My head whipped to the side, just in time for me to catch a glimpse of one of my crewmates donned in one of the external suits. Were they from the loading bay? The helmet shone against the bright light, obscuring the wearer inside as they darted out of sight. My hope rekindled. I quickly pursued them down the hallway. Hey! I turned the corner just to see they're back in time. Hey, wait up! They instantly stopped, spinning on their heel and staring back at me with a rigid spine. I couldn't see their eyes from behind the darkened glass, but I could feel the weight of their gaze. I looked down at the name tag on their suit, but it seemed to have been ripped off. Whoever it was, I didn't care. I'm so glad I finally found someone. I was this close to thinking. I hesitated, biting down on my tongue. I couldn't show this person I was freaking out. Absolutely not. Anyway, where's everyone else? Do you know where they are? They stood completely still, seeming to tremble slightly. Goma. Their voice came out muffled. What? Hang on, I reached over to flick the mic on their helmet. They paused for a moment before speaking once more, their hesitant voice ringing through. Luna? That's better. They seemed to vibrate with excitement. Oh, delight. Amazing to see you. Amazing too. I looked over their frame, trying to pinpoint their height or look for any indicator that I knew who this was. Whoever it was, they were pretty short. Is that you, Marcus? They bristled as if offended. The doctor? Ew. He is smelly like the meteor slugs and star debris. Okay, is that you, Kiara? They scoffed. Nosy cook? She is smelly too. Oh, who could this possibly be? Based on their attitude so far, it didn't seem like someone I recognized. I clawed my brain for another hint. I'm pretty sure that's not you, Ben. They made an indignant noise. I am none of your friends. None of my... Oh. Are you, that new recruit we got a few days ago? What a terrible time for introductions. I definitely heard in passings, and between gossip management sent to us yet another new recruit for a small crew. They usually consider an extra set of hands around the ship something about cleaning on the job. Felt bad, they're probably being paid pennies for a position that wasn't even permanent. Normally, in 2 months, they'd be dropped off at the next depot, and we'll be picking up a new stranger in their place. At least if things went well and the ship doesn't explode. I hide the guilt in my eyes behind a smile. In that case, I don't think we've met. I'm usually so busy running around the ship doing other people's errands. Anyway, I'm the Great Autista. I held up my hand. And you are? Oh, fuck. They freeze again, staring at my hand up, expecting it to grow teeth and start snapping at them. Luna? You will shake my hand? Their hand darted out to grip mine tightly, squeezing so hard I let out an involuntary yelp. Hey, watch the grip. They quickly released my hand, recoiling. Ah, mistake. Sorry, I mean to say, the Great Autista. I did not mean to meet you so soon. I was still in the middle of cleaning. Cleaning? I raised a brow. Since when did we start hiring janitors? They gave me a tense, awkward laugh. I need to stop pressing that. like the tittering of a bird call. Not the kind of cleaning I was talking about, but yes. Okay. For the life of me, I couldn't pinpoint what accent they spoke in. I'm sorry, what was your name again? They stilled. I did not. They looked around before pointing at my tool belt excitedly. You would call me Wrench. I blinked behind my visor. Pardon? Wrench? Yes. Like the shiny thing on your hip. Lookful. I glanced out at it before regarding them with an incredulous squint. My colleagues probably put them up to this. I'm not calling you that. They deflated, shoulder sinking in disappointment. Oh, fine. You will call me... Atom. Atom? Atom. They give me a huffy sigh, arms akimbo. Hey, my name's Adam. What's going on here? You are a tiny bit deaf. I will remember. I'm not. When did they start hiring such eccentric members? What kind of name is Adam anyway? At least it was better than Wrench. I shook my head, resisting the urge to just turn around and leave. You didn't answer me though. You know where everyone else is? Fuck. They shrugged, teetering back and forth on their toes. I have not seen them. They might be hiding. I narrowed my eyes in doubt. Why would they be hiding? By the ways, I have a very important question. It means life and death. What? What is it? What is your favorite color? What? What is your... Jeez, relax. I want answer now. Fine. It's... green. Indulgent. Green like nebula butterfly. Very fresh. I will remember. I sputtered, giving them a deadpan look. What are you, 12? We don't have time for this. I am 6 moons old, actually. Stop messing around. Look, I don't know what your deal is, but we have missing crewmates and a malfunctioning ship. How you're not freaking out is beyond me, but could you please get your head on straight and help me figure this out? They stayed silent, barely moving a muscle. My glare falters. Maybe I was a little harsh. At least they started clapping their hands with a soft giggle. Inspire. I will help you to the ends of the galaxy, Luna. It's the Great Autisto. The Great Autisto, of course. Silly the me. I huffed, resisting the urge to rub my temples. Rookies. Were they under the impression that I was someone important? Still, the presence of one strange individual as company was better than none at all. Where was I? Oh, right. Loading bay. Exosuit. Fixing ship. 3 simple things. I cleared my throat, hiding my anxiety as my arm gestured towards the opposite side of the hall where they were headed. I need someone to watch my back while I go outside. They perked up. Outside? You would like to swim? I frowned at their strange analogy before nodding. Yeah. Sai told me there was some damage outside Who's Sai? I blinked. The AI of the ship? Ah, of course. The AI. But there is no need, Luna. I already fix. You did? I was wondering why they were wearing the suit. It had to be for a reason. Hang on, I thought you were cleaning. I have many talents. Skillful. That's great. I guess I don't have to then? I stood there awkwardly, rerouting my priorities now that one major task was taken care of. I had to admit I was relieved. Anyway, anything to keep the furthest I could be from the vastness of space. I guess all that's left is to find the others. They didn't seem too happy about that. Others? Why? Why? Is that even worth asking? They lifted their head as to give me a passive-aggressive look from behind their dark helmet. I'm sure they're around. Wasting. It didn't take a genius to figure out how Adam felt about the rest of the team. My coworkers must have been giving them the newbie treatment. Hate their guts, huh? They tittered quietly. Their guts. Yes. But you care. So, I will follow. Hopping on their foot as they clapped once more. It will be a chance for me to know you better. The Great Autisto. The Great Autisto. I sighed, turning around and heading towards the cabins. Let's go. Let us. Hours. Hours of searching up and down and sideways. We looked through every possible nook and cranny of this ship I could think of, picked clean as a carcass. Am I just going insane, or do they really actually abandon me? I don't understand. Where could they be? Adam fiddled with their glove, humming an incoherent tune. Gone. I inhaled shakily, digging my hand through my hair. Ow. They're primetime jerks, but this is too much. They couldn't have just ditched me. Where would they even go? Do not fret, Luna. You are not alone. You have me. My eye twitched. That's not as big of a reassurance as you think it is. Papa. Would you like to eat? I think you should eat. Humans feel better after food, yes? What, do you cook now too? Next to cleaning and fixing? I do many things. I couldn't muster up the energy to even sigh. We already have Kiara handling our meals. They sputtered as if I just spat on their boot. Her food is inferior. Hardly crunchy. I paused for a moment, wondering if I should question them further, but decided it wasn't worth the interrogation. If you say so. So you're a janitor, mechanic, and a cook? What planet did they pick you up from, huh? They flicked their wrist as if I had given them a compliment. Rejoice! I am very talented. I can do anything for you, Luna. Anything except find their crewmates, apparently. They shrugged nonchalantly, not a care in the world. Their apathy was something to behold. It wasn't my place to judge, but I just couldn't help feeling suspicious. You certainly meet a lot of different types of people working this job. I straightened. Adam did mention they fixed the ship, didn't they? I figured asking Sai again would be worth a shot. Not to mention for these cases, maybe it was about time to look through the logs. Let's head back to Maine. Maybe I can figure out what happened there. They gave me an enthusiastic double thumbs up, eager to follow, closed with a pep in their step. I was still deciding whether I preferred to be alone or not. Count my blessings, I supposed. We entered the main console, my steps leading me to the archives unit. Keying in my ID, I scrolled through the past few hours, only to feel my heart shrivel, freeze, and drop in the span of a second. Every single log file in existence was corrupted. Even the backups of those backups. How could it? Hey! The Great Autista, what's up? I actually remember another life and death question. Not now, Adam. My fingers work the keys digging around for something. Anything. Adam fidgets and shuffles beside me. But it is very important. I mean it very much this time. I said not now. They made another indignant noise, mumbling under their breath. Grumpy, I will remember. Other than that, they seemed to stay put, watching me closely as I agonized over the console. Where is everything? I yelped as a console sparks, static riddling the screen before it turned off completely. What? No! I could only stare back at my reflection. Wisps of smoke curling between the crevices of the keys. Do you have time for life and death question now? Life and death question now? I closed my eyes and inhaled deeply, counting to 3 before exhaling out. What is it? Adam made a happy noise, glad to have my attention again. What can you eat? I furrowed my brows. What? What do you mean? They chuffed impatiently, tapping their foot. What can you eat? What can you eat without dying horrible, painful, choking death? Will you explode like a crater bug if I give you the nut? Or your gut will fail and liquefy if I give you a lactose? Are they asking if I had any allergies? They mentioned something about cooking, didn't they? Our dietary information and restrictions are in our files. You didn't think to check? I could hear the pout in their voice. Reading will take time. You will tell me now. I roll my eyes, irritation clear on my face. If it gets you off my back. I can eat anything. Convenient. I will remember. This is a fucking alien right here, boys. I fixed him with a pointed look. Aren't you worried, Adam? Where is everyone else? Shouldn't you be asking about their favorite colors and their tummy problems too? At the question, their demeanor shifted. No. They starve. The dead seriousness in their voice completely threw me off. It was full of stone-cold malice, unlike anything I'd ever heard from them. I know they can be insufferable at times, trust me, I know. But the fact they're missing is still a huge concern. They folded their arms, a rising heat in their tone. They are mean and bossy and kick you around. The captain, she is the worst. I will never forgive her. I blinked, wondering where the hell that even came from. How did you? I shook my head, my frustration rising with every second of this interaction with this newbie. That doesn't matter. This entire situation is wrong. Can't you see that? They shrugged. Everything I want to care about is right there. Never mind. I glanced over at the control panel, eyes scanning over the buttons and dials before landing on that very enticing big red button. I walked towards it. What are you doing? Calling for help? Captain always said not to press it unless necessary, but circumstances are dire. Or at least I would, if the big red button didn't just burst into sparks and smoke just as my fingertips reached for it. I stared slack-jawed as my hand hovered mid-air, 1 feet away from what should have been my one last ticket to salvation, away from this mess. Amongst the many deities living in the stars, there's gotta be one out there that absolutely detests my whole being. Adam made a hum of acknowledgement, staring at the console. Bad luck. I scoffed, gritting my teeth as I fumbled with my tool belt. Luck has nothing to do with this. Getting on my knees, I worked at the panel underneath the main console, until it popped off with an unceremonious kerchunk. Adam stiffened behind me. I could only freeze in horror attempting to comprehend what I was looking at. What was supposed to be wires and circuit boards were riddled with inky tentacles. No, not tentacles. Worms. They bobbed and weaved and slid through the internal circuitry, barring any possible attempt I had to even tinker with it. Ever insistent, I decided to proceed anyway, pulling out my screwdriver and poking the closest part with the tip. They wriggled away in response. Whatever they were responded to stimuli. That's creepy as hell. A voice murmured softly next to my ear. I do not think you should touch that, Luna. My grip tightened on my screwdriver. I don't think so either. I left it open, refusing to touch it any more than I had to, even with gloves on. But I had to be sure. One by one, I pried open every hatch and opening I could think of within the room. Nothing but worms. Adam fidgeted with their hands, silent all the while. For once they seemed to understand my growing desperation. My gut roiled in disgust as I tossed the final panel away. The metal clattering against the floor. They've taken over the ship. Missing crewmates, malfunctioning AI, unknown funky organisms crawling through the ship. What the hell is anyone even supposed to do in this situation? I was never trained for this. Or I was, but that was orientation months ago. And all they told us was to press the big red fucking button. Pacing back and forth, I fidgeted with the flaps on my tool belt, buttering solutions under my breath. Luna? The Great Autista. The Great Autista. I do not see why you worry. Do you not see the worms everywhere? I've seen them before. Safe. My steps halted at the casual admission. You've seen them before? They're not dangerous? Safe. Secure. But you told me not to touch them. Just because safe does not mean touch. I glanced around the room, uncomfortable tingles running up my arms, looking at all the wriggling. I held back the urge to gag. Tommy can look at all this and not want to puke. They jerked as if I had just insulted their mother. 1, that is rude. 2, I've seen worse. The worms were spilling out onto the floor and disappearing through the grates on our feet. But there's so many. They tutted in disappointment. Are you also scared of 100 million ants? That sounds terrifying. You are giant ants, Luna. Well, scared of ants, I will remember. What was that? Nothing. Worms, safe. Admittedly, their easygoing demeanor about the whole thing did help me calm a little. A detail they seemed pleased by. I have another life and death question. Not another one of these. Is this a hobby of yours? What animal is your favorite? Do not ignore my question with another question. Animal, now. Oh my god. What is my favorite animal? A little fun fact for you guys. It's the possum. Wonder. I will remember. Can we take it easy with the icebreakers already? But understanding Luna is so much fun. Stop calling me that. What is wrong with calling you Luna? Nothing's wrong with it, it's just not my name. So I can call you Luna? That's not what I said. Okay. I groaned, burying my face in my hands. Do what you want. They giggled cheerfully, hopping on one foot. I will. Can we go back to the worms? If you've seen them before, how do you deal with them? You do not. I'm sorry, you do not? Why deal with worms if safe? Because safe does not mean let them infest the entire ship, Adam. Why not? Do I really need to explain? Actually, don't answer that. You know what? Stop talking. I'm just going to sigh. A soft crackle emitted from the speakers. How may I assist? I slumped in relief at hearing the monotonous voice once more. Meanwhile, Adam seemed to huff in annoyance, folding their arms after being brushed aside. I gave them a short glance of acknowledgement before turning my attention back to the ceiling. Where's the nearest station we can dock at? The nearest station is approximately 5... Apologies, I cannot finalize the distance. What? I thought you were fixed. I was. It seems my navigational systems have been tampered with. Tampered? What do you mean tampered with? I've been tampered with. Well, now you said that, but in what way? A different way. If Psy had a neck, I'd be gently wringing it. Deep breaths, like changed, altered? Affirmative. Who would? I looked over at Adam out of the corner of my eye, who's been staring at me the entire time. A brief second of paranoia filled my chest before I quickly quelled it. They've been with me for the past few hours. It didn't make sense. Is it the same for everything else? Does it feel like everything else has been altered, I mean? Yes and no. Upon rebooting, several of my usual functions were inoperable. However, ever since my waking up, the loss of control has been increasing in increments ever since. Wait, what? You. So you're telling me you're worse off than before? Affirmative. Why? Why didn't you tell me sooner? My initiative directives were also tampered with as of 60 minutes ago. I cannot do what's not asked of me. I groaned, loss of control. So what does that mean? Are we being hijacked? Why would anyone want to take over this stupid vessel? We just deliver Earthian pet kibble and platinum-grade chew toys. It's not an attack. The source is from within. Within? The worms! The worms! I don't want to hurt these people. The worms! What can I do? May I suggest interrogating the I have suggestion? My head slowly turned to regard the newbie with an apathetic look. Yes, Adam. Take walk with me. My glare turned furious at their nonsense. And what 70 billion galaxies would that help? You told me these things were safe, and look at what they did. We're stranded. Despite practically blowing up in their face, your helmet tilted. Nothing but jubilance radiating off their body. Walk will help. Promise. Promise, Luna. It will help. Seeing as Psy is not functioning, let's see what we can get out of Adam. I just needed the breather, but I could tell I was about to accept their invitation, considering they took a step towards me and yanked me forward by the wrist before I could even say a word. Next thing I knew, my boots were thumping against the grates behind theirs, their grip around my wrist firm, without a chance for me to slip. Their excited laughter echoed as they led me down the halls, less of a brisk walk and more of a merry jog. They confidently took turns without even glancing to check, seeing they had a destination in mind. Eventually we stopped in front of one of the airlocks, or rather what we used as the garbage chute. Technology wasn't sophisticated on this ship. There was something I had to accept ages ago. Every time I came into proximity around the area, I worried the creaking would finally give way to a collapsed doorway, sucking me into the abyss. I kinda understood why Adam brought me here. The view through the glass separating us from the oblivion in the other room was still, admittedly breathtaking. Ugh. Now in my case, it would be literal, considering I have to hold back a panic attack every time I caught a glimpse outside. I wasn't even terrified of space until I got this job. Some practical jokes just leave a worse impression than others. Adam doesn't notice my subtle distress, or even if they did, decided to ignore it. It is like I remember. You've been here before? Many moons ago. One day I take you swimming. Swimming? Alright, they meant outside. Just the very thought made my palms sweat. my heart sinking within my ribcage. Did they really get a thrill from helplessly floating out in space? It would explain why they haven't taken off the suit yet. I don't think I can. Yes, you can. It is easy. They reach for my hands, intertwining her fingers and gently squeezing through the gloves. I'll let them. The contact was so out of the blue, but at this point I've come to accept my crewmates' quirks. Otherwise I wouldn't have agreed to this nonsense in the first place. Maybe the stress of the unknown was making me lenient. I couldn't see their face, but I could somehow tell they were beaming. What? We're not doing this now, right? I don't want to go outside. They tilted their head in confusion. We are not. You're not wearing suit for swimming. Huh. I relaxed. Then, is there a reason we're holding hands next to the dumpster? Many reasons. Can you give me, like, one? They hummed in thought. I remember great happiness here. Huh? You asked for a reason. That is reason. They tightened their grip, stepping forward into my space, their helmet nearly bumping my nose. I startled, leaning back. I can tolerate the hand-holding, but I appreciate my own bubble of oxygen, Adam. They laughed again, light and airy. I will make your oxygen for you. What? I only want to see you. Are you trying to see every single pore on my face, too? They tittered again, a smile in their voice. You're funny. I will remember. I sighed. That was barely a joke. Why do you keep saying that like you're keeping tabs on me? They paused briefly before realizing what I was referring to. I should know, must know everything to make Luna happy. Nothing else that is matter will matter. I held my breath, staring at them in bewilderment. At this point, I couldn't even deny it anymore. It was clear Adam was smitten. Gods know why. That's a bold confession. Not bold enough. Never enough. Okay, calm down there. Should I just ask? Is this a fucking dating simulator? There's no way I could just ask that. The utter and absolute humiliation my body would experience on the chance I was wrong would combust me on the spot. They keep calling me Luna. What is wrong with Luna? Say nothing. Never mind. Their grip grew tighter. Why do I call you Luna? It took me a good while to respond, staring in silence. Difficult to explain. Beauty cannot compare. Oh. Maybe they did have a thing for me after all. Against all odds, my cheeks grew warmer. I played it off like I didn't care, like it sounded like a compliment. My face looks like a moon to you? Yes. Breathless. The others do not deserve you. Their voice had lowered to a whisper, a reverence in their tone I found unsettling. I will rot them until there's nothing left. What? Haha. Nothing, my Luna. Unlike this ship and everyone in it, you are the real angel. Aw. Are they talking about the ship's name? Bidadari did mean angel in some language I couldn't remember. Ever since the expansion of intergalactic travel, there were too many languages to keep track of, including those outside of Earth. Oh, I am done cleaning. I snapped out of my thoughts. Cleaning? The lights flickered, turning to a colored hue. Your favorite. I blinked. The lights weren't meant to do that. What did you just do? They laughed cheerfully, holding out their arms as if proud. I make ship better. You will not need Psy anymore. You will not need friends anymore. I will care for everything. Food, flesh, favorite things. Everything will be your liking, my Luna Nova. What? Ah, right. You are a tiny bit deaf. Should I repeat? No! Can you please explain what's going on? What did you just do to the ship? Where are my comrades? Haha. If I am being honest, you will not like me. Their words sent a cold chill up my back. But that is alright. Everything is alright. This isn't alright. Nothing was ever alright with this person. Adam admired my silence for a moment before leaning closer. What is it you want, Luna? Ask, and I'll give you everything of me. I want to... Boom! Bitch! I braced my feet on the ground and swung, the sound of glass cracking sharp to my ears as the impact traveled down my shoulder. Adam made it sound like a strangled animalistic cry, dropping to their knees and clutching at their head. Typically, space helmets shouldn't crack under that kind of force. They're supposed to be bulletproof, and you'd crack your skull sooner than you'd crack your helmet. But the company was cheap, and for once that was to my benefit. Luna? My eyes widened as I stumbled back. Worms dribbled out of their head, slapping wetly against the grate before joining the rest between the crevices. I already knew they couldn't possibly be a part of my crew, but seeing what was essentially a suit full of worms did it for me. I bang another hit for good measure, a guttural screech scattering more worms across the floor. I grip the wrench tight, abandoning their crawling form to sprint down the hallway towards the emergency escape pods. Whee! Walls and floor creaked and groaned as I ran, contorting in a shape to trip me. I readied myself with the flailing of my arms, coughing for breath as I threw open the hatch for the escape pod and clambered inside the mess of limbs. I buckle in, hands shaking as I flicked buttons and dials for the ignition, heart painfully hammering against my ribs. The countdown flickers on screen, the vessel shuddering to life. 10, 9, Luda! I screamed, jumping in my seat. Adam clawed at the pod, its worm-like innards pulsating and bulging between the cracks of its shattered helm. Luna, Luna, Luna. It giggled softly, sighing in mock disapproval. You know it's useless. So smart, but tiny bit stupid. The buttons and dials reset simultaneously with harrowing clicks, the pod jittering to a stop. I was left staring at Adam's cracked helm as it chitters, its laugh sounding more insect-like. You can have tantrum. I do not mind. It leaned against the glass, helmet thudding as it tilted its head in that love-struck way characters do in cartoons. I will wait. Its fingers tapped playfully against the glass, distorted humming coming from the mass inside its head. I sat there frozen, my body unable to even tremble from shock. I licked my lips, refusing to even look away. My voice sounded distant and muffled, even through my own ears. What are you? Adam stopped its rhythmic tapping. Ah, talkative so soon. I can't do anything else. It stared a moment before giggling, shoulders shaking with mirth. Candid. Very true. What am I? It seemed to consider a moment before knocking its thumb against the glass again in excitement. Do you remember, Luna? Many moons ago on this ship, I was small, weak, and hungry. I racked my brain for an inkling of what it was talking about. A stowaway? Was it possible? I was ready to die, but I sneak into the metal box instead and find crunchy bits. Food? You found food? The edibles. Yes, joy and applause. But I find food to also find problem. Your friends, mean and hasty, surround me like moon lions. If you're going to be stealing our rations, of course they'd be pissed. The worms writhed wildly as if in anger, but I was so small and weak. They want to crush me under boots and burn me alive. Every single face, stormy. All but yours. They paused for a moment, reminiscing. The worms calmed. You look at me. Mercy. Star among the black holes. Their tone softened to that of reverence. Do you remember? Holding me in your glove? Do you remember? Shooting me into space? I shot you into space? That sounded like a death sentence rather than a rescue. And then it clicked. 6 months ago. You got into the dog food, didn't you? It perked up, nodding eagerly. Maria had found a pest digging through the supplies and eating through half the bags. She called the whole group to catch it while I was busy repairing the hole it crawled through. Caught in a jar. Shaken and punished, just trying to survive. Kiara suggested throwing it into the engine furnace. Marcus wanted to pick it apart. The others chimed in horrible, torturous methods out of boredom when letting it out of the airlock hatch was so easy. I ran off with it just as they had started bickering. It was no bigger than my palm. I just thought you were an endangered species. In an honest, truthful way, I did. The markings matched, didn't they? It let out a chirp of amusement. You are very smart with the ship, but tiny bit stupid with the animals. It sighed longingly, tracing a circle over my face with a finger on the glass. I remember your smile. I cannot forget. I never forget. You saved my life, my Luna Nova. My kind answer, action in spades. You are getting what you deserve. The pod shuddered, screws spinning loose and dropping to the ground in muffled clinks by my boots. I watched in horror as the worms started squeezing in through the holes, swarming in as they landed on my lap, my arms, my shoulder, the gap around my collar. I could feel them curl around my ear, brush against my cheek, prodding against my visor. more and more, piling on and on. Get them off me. I unbuckled myself, kicking open the hatch as Adam stepped back in time. Bursting out of the pod, I scrambled to flick away the horrid things off my body, shuddering as the sensation still ghosted over my skin. Adam watched, hardly offended. Haha. I got impatient and snatched my hands before I could finish ridding myself of the worms. The remaining ones curled around me, sticking to my clothes and skin in a way that was almost affectionate. Now we have our home ready. What would you like to do, my Luna Nova? Home? It nodded excitedly. Home! Ship! Right. Adam took over the Bidadari. Even now I could hear the distant creaking and dull rumbling all around us, transmitting gentle tremors from under my boots, like the ship itself had come alive, breathing. My voice came out meek and numb. I want to go back to Earth. Adam shook its head. No. No. I am better than any planet. I can make anything. Here, it cupped its palms together and something started wriggling underneath its gloves. Small colored pebbles rolled into its hands and from the cuffs of its sleeve, growing into a pile before it presented them to me. Scrumptious. I recognized the dry pellets instantly. Is it offering me dog food? I gently nudged its hand back down. I can't eat that. It gasped in shock, an intense pout in its voice. Why not? You can eat anything, yes? You told me so. That doesn't include dog food. It sighed and tutted, the worms wriggling about in annoyance. Fine. I learned from Cook what to cook. I paused. Are you talking about Kiara? I dig her brain for recipe. Plentiful. What is that even? Never mind, I don't want to know. Somewhere in my confusion, Adam had hidden the kibble away. Suspiciously muffled crunching noises come from within its chest. I eyed it warily. What were those even made of? If it had a mouth, it would have given me a cheeky grin. Me! My body shuddered, squinting down into its gaping head wound. The smell of burnt eggs was even more intense. I don't want to eat worms. It laughed nonchalant. It will not taste like worms. Did not even look like worms, remember? Oh. I can also make you some possum. I do not know what possum is, but Luna can show me. Would you like your own possum? I briefly imagined an animal made out of wriggling black worms. I ignored the nausea collecting in the back of my throat at the thought. That's fine. I pointed at its helmet. Doesn't that hurt? I made a confused noise before realizing where I was staring. It is like fresh air. Adam, really, it's just worms. You're not mad at me? You said you returned favors, so... It shook its head quickly. I will never, ever. You can do the hitting again if that is what you want. What? No, don't be crazy. But then again, what did I expect from something not even human? I startled as Adam removed my glove. Raising my hand with a firm grip, Adam nuzzled into me, carefully avoiding nicking me over the jagged edges. The smooth glass rubbed against my palm as the worms retreated within the helm, avoiding touching me directly. Even then, I let one stray worm curl around my thumb, the texture cold and foreign and strange. I could feel light vibrations on my skin as I let out a happy hum. We will sing and dance and fall in love, Luna. I cleared my throat awkwardly, resisting the urge to tug my hand free. I think you're being a little too optimistic for your own good, Adam. It shuddered happily at the sound of its chosen name on my lips. Optimist? Of course I am. You have no choice but to like me. Its hold tightened around my wrist, and do not ever think of escaping. I will hunt you, I will find you, and we will start all over again. I gulped. What if I asked nicely? No. Stay. But stay. I swallowed thickly, not daring to move a muscle or protest another word. I didn't think I'd be held hostage by an enamored, parasitic worm extraterrestrial thing. This whole situation was so bizarre I expected to wake up under red lights again if I tried hard enough. This is crazy. It tutted in satisfaction. What is the saying of that melody? That? You used to be my angel, the great Autisto. The lights over our head dimmed, the reflection off Adam's helmet illuminating the look of dread on my face. Now I can be yours. And we danced in synchronous rotation. Thank you for playing. Oh, well. That was Astronaut. I guess I have a worm thing that's in love with me. This was under horror for some reason. I'll post it. I don't care. It had some horror elements. If I had to sit here and fall for this fucking worm dating simulator thing, fuck it. You guys have to look at it too. But anyhow, that is all for this episode of Astronaut. I hope you guys enjoyed more than I did. But anyhow, that's it for me. Go ahead, like the video, subscribe. I'm gonna go to bed. I'm fucking exhausted, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.